Uvia. The galleon carrying him was supported by 100 more as they left Nosnev. They were heading towards Uvia. On his way to Igathantia, Yugada told him about the Mal Servius. When he was at Hapa, Mal Servius appeared unnoticed in many lands, and this included the west side banks of Nosnev and Bixar. They killed any life along their way, and they numbered in several thousands. Igathantia and the eastern parts of Nosnev were the only ones untouched by them in the north. Leonardo also learned of the great war of the Sumiks with the Bixas. He learned that all the kings had died in that war when the Bixas succeeded in breaking the remaining defenses of the From Palace. It was only King Asiv who survived when he was hidden by the Ibiths in a safe house inside their dead forest in the north. Since the failed invasion of Bixas at Igathantia, there never was a newborn king, for many of the male Sumiks at Igathantia died in the war. This included the peasants, farmers, and fishermen who also fought the Bixas. At the siege of From Klur, soldiers succeeded in warning the forces of Yugada before they were ambushed by the Bixas in the north. The south force was not as lucky but fell victims to the Bixas. Leonardo's mother was forced to evacuate their village in the south while her farmer husband fought the invading Bixas in the mountains together with a few civilians. The battle lasted for days. Yugada and his northern soldiers succeeded in retaking Uvia and the From mountain. Klur, Mandrak, the kings at From, and the Ibiths and soldiers, all died in the siege. The Bixas retreated with their ships, but as they did, without warning, spring came. The great flood killed the Bixas' army including King Ur, and spring too took away the life of Leonardo's mother. From afar, Leonardo saw lands filled with smoke. It is Bixar and the northern Redth land. Mal Servius have conquered them, Yugada told. Leonardo remembered seeing the sky in the north as if it was in flames when he was with the Jujingjings who tried to kill him. Mal Servius are on their way to the south of the Redth land. Leonardo thought about Revilho and the Ozalbenegs. How long will it take them to reach the south? It depends. If they will cross the mountain from the north side of the Redth land, a week or so, but if they will use the Great River, about 2 days. I doubt if they will use the Great River. They don't have boats and the currents southwards are still strong. We need to help them. We cannot do anything at this time. We need every soldier in our land. The Mal Servius may just come and we are not sure how many will they be. We need to protect Igathantia. How many soldiers do you have? We have 140,000 soldiers and 60,000 reserves, mostly civilians who will fight for Igathantia. We can send a few soldiers to help them. Igathantia does not need help at this moment, but the other lands, my family, the Mals, need you. Let us send forces to other lands. We cannot allow them to fall against the Mal Servius. We must help them. Yugada turned speechless. He bowed his head. I am sorry, but my mission is to take you in. I have risked 5,000 soldiers to travel to the Vamith land to take you with us. King Asiv wanted you out from harm's way. We searched for you for years hoping that you were still alive to bring forth order at Igathantia. Leonardo gave a perplexed look at Yugada. It doesn't make any sense, Yugada. You sent a large army to take me for what? To sit on a throne and to tell you the same thing? It may be too late by then. We are just wasting our time while many lives are at stake. Order your soldiers to turn around. Let us go to the south and give aid to those who will need it. Leonardo's voice was straight, but Yugada just gave him a firm look, a kind of look of a real soldier that made Leonardo freeze. You don't understand, Leonardo. You are not yet a king and you cannot command me at this moment. Once you become one, you can tell me anything and I will follow it without fail. At the moment you have to wait until you are installed as a king. Yugada turned his back and watched the other ships sailing with their galleon. They had already passed the edges of southern Igathantia where many soldiers from the land were waving at them. He bowed his head and called a soldier from the deck. Sound the horn. Signal the boats in the west to head south and proceed to the Redth land. The soldier nodded and left. Then, Leonardo heard a deep sound echoing and saw soldiers raising flags from the watch tower. He watched a few ships from his left lowered their sails as they began to turn around. They were responding to Yugada's order. 8,000 of my soldiers will go to the south to warn and fight with the Redths if necessary. It is the most that I can do for now. We must continue our sail to Uvia. Yugada paused and looked at Uvia from afar. King Asiv also wanted to help other lands, but unsure that if we do, we might not have enough to defend Igathantia against the Mal Servius. Mal Servius are smart. They can just appear and disappear as they wish. We don't know how they do that, and they have no boats or anything that can bring them to other soils. We didn't even know where they came from. When we were at war with Bixar, we tried to destroy their remaining forces, but Mal Servius came to their aid when almost all the Bix forces were destroyed. This forced us to regroup at Igathantia, but when we were about to launch another attack, the Bixas sent a messenger and offered truce. They reasoned that they were at war with the Mal Servius and they needed our help to drive them away. We thought it was a trap till we sent scouts to check at Bixar, who told us that Bixar was flattened and many villages burned. It was then that we believed the Bikes. We tried to find the Malservius with the Bikes, but they were all gone. Not a trace of them was left but the burnt city of Kio, the king's palace, surrounding villages and scattered bodies of Bikes, young, old, women. We left Bixar still burning then until time passed and Bixar recovered. There was peace in the north for more than 2 decades until a few weeks ago when Malservius came back and this time, took Bixar for their own. We were late to help them. Actually, unsure was the proper word for we could no longer trust the Bikes. We were sorry on their fate. Leonardo was in thoughts picturing the story of Yugada. Yugada, you have to watch the great river. Malservius do not need boats to reach other lands. They can swim, even against strong currents. They probably use the cover of darkness and going to other lands. Yugada was taken aback hearing the information on the Malservius and quickly motioned to a soldier to send a message to the galleons and the soldiers at the river banks. The ships docked at the large port of Uvia. Since the failed invasion of the Bikes, the port of Uvia was no longer the same. It was surrounded by a high fortress. Ships could dock at its port but any trader or intruder would pass by a high fortress guarded by the soldiers. Trade only happened at the port and unlike before when the city of Uvia could be seen from the river, it was now enclosed by high walls where many catapults and mounted spear guns were visible. As he set foot at Agathantia, he saw many soldiers lined up outside the fortress. Amongst them were old Sumiks clad in white garments, the cocks. They watched Leonardo walk towards them and beside him was Yugada. Leonardo looked up and saw many soldiers on top of the fortress staring at him too. They all bowed when he met their eyes and he bowed back. Nearing the gates of the fortress, the soldiers and civilians bowed at him. The Sumiks welcomed him with gladness and their eyes were filled with hope. He felt very odd at this sight, wondering what their eyes meant, for he was seeing a rich and a progressive land that did not seem to need anything. He thought about the invaders that were just right across the great river and thought of it as the reason. They entered the open fortress and inside he saw the vastness of the city. It was a place that awed Leonardo, where several structures of great geometric shapes and sizes, some towering above the others with pointed ends, were built. The brick-laden path leading to the palace from afar was filled with Sumiks. They were there to see a king they had been searching for years. The news spread fast about Leonardo and this made the Sumiks gathered to meet their would-be king, including those from the north and the mountainous in the south. It was unbelievable to Leonardo seeing a very thick number of kinds resembling his feature as if they were thick forest trees from afar with varying colors. Leonardo was given a white horse but he was not used to it as he looked at Yugada, who understood his hesitance. Yugada gave a short smile and whispered to him to ride and follow his lead. That he did as told. As he passed the wide path leading to the palace, the Sumiks were cheering seeing him in his long hair with bloody red streak running down to his waist until one remarked, "Hail King Leonardo! Hail King Leonardo!" It was followed by the others such that the voices were echoing and getting louder and louder. Leonardo felt uneasy for the voices were unstoppable. The crowds were following him from behind but the many soldiers prevented anyone to get near him. He was already in the middle of the very long alley when he pulled the rope that made the horse stop. He alighted from his horse, looked around and the sight of him standing tall in the midst of the Sumiks made the voices diminish until everybody fell silent. He looked at the many faces of his race at a distance staring at him as if they wanted him to speak. He couldn't find the words to start but their looks were forcing him to say something as he looked at Yugada, who too was staring blank at him. Yugada alighted from his horse and came to his side, for he too was moved by the Sumiks. He whispered to Leonardo, "Say something, Leonardo. Tell them you came back for them." He looked at Yugada with uncertainty. "They need hope, Leonardo. They are looking up to you." He couldn't understand what Yugada meant and still, he couldn't find the words to say but instead uttered what his feelings were. "I am glad to see all of you. My race. My kind. I am not the one who you think I am, for I was just but a mere traveler. I don't consider myself as a king but like any one of you with the life. In the place that I grew up, I learned about compassion and simplicity, and this sudden elevation of my stature to something that I am unprepared to take is making me feel uncomfortable. I do not know yet the reason why I came to here despite the many challenges that almost took away my life. I ask that you treat me the way you treat yourself and not regard me as somebody that I am not. If it is the way you see me, please give me time to be like one." Everyone was silenced at the words of Leonardo as if they were absorbing them all. Yugada too was moved by his words. Their admiration in Leonardo suddenly blossomed into their minds. Leonardo is a natural king with the gift of charm. They were all forgiving, for they knew that Leonardo grew up outside Agathantia, but they never expected the humility of his words. This made the Sumiks to further hail him as one. "Hail King Leonardo! Hail King Leonardo!" The Sumiks were unstoppable as the voices were even louder this time. He looked at Yugada. "You will understand them later. Let them throw their hearts out for the moment." Leonardo was tongue-tied at the remarks of Yugada, who turned around and rode back onto his horse. He followed him. From the palace at Uvia, Akadal was watching him together with the other cocks as he spoke with insolence. How nice it is that we will be ruled by somebody who grew up in the wild. He does not even know about this country. Should we let our fate rest on a hand of a stranger? Akadal, he is not a stranger and you know that. We must be thankful that he was found and came to this land. He is the last hope that can bring order into this place. Mo, another cock, answered him. What order? We can make order in this place even without him. You don't understand. The Sumiks listen only to a king, not us. If King Asiv dies, it is also the end of Igathansha. We will lose our identity. There will be no one to lead this country. Is that what you want to happen? No. What I am saying is, maybe it is time to break the tradition in the choice of our king so any Sumik in Igathansha can become one, somebody that Igathansha respects. The cocks looked at Akadal. You are forgetting that we are not choosing our king Akadal, it is given to us, Rotson, an older cock remarked. That is my point. All of us did not choose to be who we are. It is just this society's standards that made us who we are. It is time to break the tradition and give liberty to Igathansha and to let all the Sumiks to choose what they wanted to be. And what do you want to be? Rotson asked, but Akadal did not respond. If we break our traditions, then it is also the end of us. This country will fall apart. There will be conflict of great magnitude. What you want to happen will destroy the very foundation of this land and we will lose the order that we held since centuries. There will be imbalance that cannot be restored, for there will be opposing forces that will try to dominate each other, and let us just say that King Asiv dies and Leonardo is not found, or not really a king that we thought of. Who then will be the king of Igathansha? The one that was given power by King Asiv until a new king is born, Mo answered. But no one was given power by King Asiv. What if he dies now? That will not happen. King Asiv knows what is going to happen if he dies. He already appointed somebody to lead the Sumiks. Yet, who? Me. It was the voice of Rotson.